Hey, welcome everyone to the new coordinator series, Alphabet Soup. My name is Rebecca Webb. I'm the program manager for University of Chicago Advent Health LaGrange in Illinois. And with me today is Summer Jameson, from the program coordinator from UAMS, South Carolina. So, Miss Summer, take it away.
Hello, everyone. I'm going to make one correction. UAMS South Central, not Carolina, but that's okay.
Oh, South Central. Sorry, my fault.
So this is part of the new coordinator series that AFMA has. And we want all the new coordinators. I know when I was a coordinator, they would say all these words and these letters. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I know what ACGME is, and I didn't know. So it'd be one of those things that I would have to write down and look it up later. So as a coordinator, we want you guys to know all of the I'm going to talk about the commonly used acronyms that you'll see on a daily basis within family medicine. So these ones I'll be talking about your accreditation data system, which is ADS, what is an associate program director, the APE, which is your annual program evaluation, the CCC, which I'm pretty sure you're familiar with, CME, what do you do with it? The DIO, who is it? GME, what is it? GMAC, why? IMG, what's the difference between an IMG and a regular medical graduate? The PEC, a PLA, a PC, which is you, a PD, which is your best friend, and the RRC, which is also known as the RC. I don't have access to flip the page. Okay. So the first one, which will be your ADS, which is your ADS, that is basically the cloud, is what I would put it. ACGME has to have somewhere to put all of this information that we have to provide to them on a yearly basis. So that to me would be your cloud for ACGME. It's the storage system for which ACGME can see the information that we provide to them. The APD, which I always say the ADP, which people are like, what's the ADP? I don't know. But an associate program director, to me, it's going to be the second in command to the program director. I was doing a little research, and Mr. Google told me that if you have more than 15 residents in your program, then your program has to have an APD. So my program has 27 residents, so I have two. I have an associate and an assistant. The difference is just the title for which one of them did an extra step in for the teaching within our institution. I'm sorry about that. So we have two APDs, which again is the second in command, which is the assistant program director. I hope I'm making sense. I'm probably not. I'm rambling. Thumbs up. All right. So then we're going to go to the APE. Your APE is your annual program evaluation. Your annual program evaluation is done by your faculty and your PD. If you guys have heard of the SWOT analysis, that's what a lot of people will use to gather information about their program that they use to get their ads together. Well, we use ours to help with our ads to get the strengths and the weaknesses of the program, things that we can change, things that we like of that nature. So we use that for our APE. Any questions thus far on those three? No? Okay. Moving on to the CCC, your Clinical Competency Committee. Your CCC will be what can I say? They help maintain and develop they help. Jesus, the committee must meet at least 2 times a year. But this committee is the I don't really remember.
This is the committee that decides competency for the residents, correct?
There you go. And I'm sorry, our CCC, we meet more than 2 times a year. We meet once a month because they also help with the disciplinary actions reports that we would give to our program director to for any residents that have any professionalism or anything disciplinary. They'll talk about that, and they'll get the information to the program director. I hope that made sense, but it probably didn't. They also help in the maintaining and development they help increase the knowledge and skill and professional performance of the physicians, which will be your residents. The CME is continuing medical education. That right there is something that everyone must do. Technically, as a coordinator, this right here will be our CME. We're continuing our education on learning more about our specialty, our craft, and things that we do on a daily. Physicians have to do the same thing. All your residents, your program should give your residents CME money, your faculty CME money. They can go on a trip. They can do question banks that can give them points. They have to have this in order to apply for their boards and or recertify for their boards. And some states require extra CME when they're doing their license renewal and everything. The DIO, which is the designated institutional officer, is the overseer of all of the residency programs. So you have your DIO who oversees the residency programs, and you have your program director who oversees your program. So if your institution has more than one residency, you're reporting to the DIO. They're trying to gather all information about all of the programs that are underneath them. What is GME? GME is graduate medical education. It's just your specialized training. So you got your family medicine, your anesthesiology, your internal medicine. Those right there would be specialized trainings within GME. You also have GMEC. GMEC is Graduate Medical Education Committee. It's the committee that monitors and oversees the accreditation for all of the programs. You have your IMGs, which is your international or your foreign medical graduates. Those are graduates that did not graduate from a U.S. medical school. So your Ross universities, your Caribbean schools, those would be your IMGs, which they also have to have their paperwork that they get after they graduate. What is that called?
Their diploma, their ECFMG certificate.
Their ECFMG certificate. Thank you. I told you I'm horrible at presenting. So you have your PEC, which is your Program Evaluation Committee. This right here can have a resident sit on it. They are just evaluating the things about your program. They should meet once or twice. No, they should meet twice a year. Also, they're just evaluating the program. Nope, lies. It's the faculty and our staff that's evaluating the residents, the residency programs. I'm sorry. So they are evaluating the program. So your PEC again is evaluating the program. It's your faculty and staff, and you can have a resident on that committee. Your PLA is an agreement between a program and a training site. So before your residents, depending on when you start, your electives and or away rotations would be considered elective also. And period, because you have to have one within your institution and your hospital, you have to have a program letter of agreement. That agreement is saying, hey, I will participate, follow your rules, and train whoever's coming to work with me. So it's an agreement between the institution or the program and the clinic or institution, depending on who you're getting one with. I'm almost done. So
doing great, Summer.
This far.
Doing great.
Okay, so you have your PC, which is you. You are the face of the program. You are getting all the phone calls, emails, and everything. They're coming to you if they're crying. They're coming to you if they're happy. They're coming to you if they're pregnant. They're coming to you if they are in trouble. You are the woman or man of the program. Before it, technically for us, before the program director gets involved, because we're kind of like the bomb, but we're not going to say that. Do not show this to any program director. So you help with the management of the actual program to make sure everything is in line. You're like the voice for the residents when it comes to things of that nature. Your program director is your best friend. If your program director is not your best friend, you need to work on that. He or she is the authority, and they're accountable for everything that goes on within the program. So with the teamwork that you guys, you should have like Bonnie and Clyde, or Batman and Robin, or Tom and Jerry, or spaghetti and O's. I don't know. However you want to look at it, that's how you and your program director should be, because there should be nothing that is that you don't know about within the program that your program director does not or does or does not know. So literally, y'all are like family. And the RRC, which is the Residency Review Committee, or the RC, which is an ACGME group that they are designated in different specialties. So our RRC would be, they focus on family medicine. So anything, if you have to get anything approved with ACGME, it has to go through the RC to get approved before you can actually do it, like your competency changes. And they also review the ads once a year once you submit that.
They will be the ones to give you the continued accreditation letter for your program every year also.
That was difficult.
Job some.
I hope whatever I said didn't go in one ear and out the other. If you do have any questions, I promise I can give you a website that will make a little bit more sense of the things that I've talked about. But it's just like a whole bunch of alphabet soup. It's things that you're going to see on a daily, things you're going to see yearly, and you just have to know where to find it, not necessarily what it is, but you have to know where you can find it that can help you understand what each entity does.
All right. So I will be going through not just agencies, but also just other things that you might need to know in your daily living as a coordinator. AAFP is American Academy of Family Physicians. The AAMC is the Association of American Medical Colleges. The ACOFP is the American College of Osteopathic Family Physicians. ACGME, Accreditation Council for Graduate Medical Education. And then AFMA, of course, we all know what AFMA is. Association of Family Medicine Administration. Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services is CMS. That's how we get reimbursed for our residents. DEA, Drug Enforcement Administration. The ECFMG Education Commission for Foreign Medical Grads. ERIS is the Electronic Residency Application Service, which everyone right now should know what that is and not be liking it very much. FRIDA, or AMA FRIDA. This is Fellowship and Residency Electronic Interactive Database. NBOME, National Board of Osteopathic Medical Examiners. The NRMP, National Resident Matching Program. TAGME, which is Training Administrators of Graduate Medical Education, and USMLE, United States Medical Licensing Examination. So just to break those things down, this is just a little blurb about each one so that you can kind of keep them straight. AAFP, organization that provides advocacy, education, and patient practice resources. So this is the residency leaderships and the big conference in Kansas City every year, our last conference. And then FMX is also a conference for residents and medical students that just took place here in Illinois, which is a yearly conference also. So AAMC, organization that represents medical schools, teaching hospitals, and academic and scientific societies. So ERIS is amongst other things of what the AAMC provides. So you would be logging into the AAMC to get into your ERIS account. ACOFP is the Association and Medical Specialty College for Osteopathic Physicians and Students. So for those of you that just have allopathic programs, you may not be familiar with this. Those of you that have osteopathic physicians residents in your programs, this is the licensing board, as well as who gives you the in-service exams, which is the equivalent of the in-training exam for an allopathic resident. And then Cortex, which is the osteopathic recognition in training exam to meet the ACGME requirement for osteopathic recognition. They also are the ones that put on the OMED conference, which is the osteopathic medicine conference that happens annually. The hands-on board exam also happens within the OMED conference. So there's two parts to an osteopathic license. And one is written test and the other is hands-on osteopathic manipulation test, which is always given at the OMED conference every year. ACGME, this is the body responsible for accrediting all GME training programs for physicians in the United States. They are accreditation body for our programs. So you definitely should know what that is. AFMA, woo woo, Professional Association of Family Medicine Administrators, dedicated to personal and professional growth of its membership. CMS releases billing and coding regulations that affect how healthcare reimburses institutions, as well as the reimbursement for residency training for programs and institutions. So CMS is who reimburses us for our IRIS reports when we run our IRIS reports annually, for FTEs, for IME, for DME. This is who reimburses our hospitals for paying for for the training of our residents, as well as our departments, our faculty that train. Your pay also comes most likely from the reimbursement CMS does for our residency programs. The DEA, federal agency that issues federal licenses to physicians for prescribing meds. I don't know about you guys, here in the state of Illinois, you have to have a state controlled substance license as well as a federal license to prescribe medications once you get your permanent license. So the DEA is where residents and faculty would go to get that federal license to prescribe medications. ECFMG. This assesses the readiness of international medical graduates to enter residency and fellowship programs in the US. They also sponsor some visas. They mandate what foreign medical schools that are not accredited by either LCME or the osteopathic boards, to make sure that all of the requirements are met prior to them being able to apply for a US program. So that's the ECFMG. ARIS, the service provided by the AAMC for recruitment of residents and fellows. You guys all know what ARIS is because that's where your recruitment applications are. FRIDA is a searchable database of ACGME accredited residency and fellowship programs, as well as posted vacancies in those programs. So every year you have to do your roster and write a little bit about your program, and there's deadlines before it can go online and be live for everyone. And I believe there is a small fee for being part of FRIDA and having your residency information on their database. And then any questions before I keep going? We're going too fast. Just right? Okay, good. So NBOME, National Board that manages osteopathic assessments from medical school to physicians in practice. The NRMP is the match. This is the organization that places medical students into US training programs. TAGME is a credential for training administrators of GME programs to recognize the competence and expertise of those who manage training programs. So TAGME is our certification. USMLE, the three-step examination program for medical licensure in the US, sponsored by the FSMB and the NBME. Those are the boards for medical education, allopathic students and residents. And then bonus, you have 2 AOAs. One you will see on ARIS applications. It is called the AOA Alpha Omega Alpha. This is a honor society that some schools have to place designation on students that have met certain criteria. And then the AOA that we all know is the American Osteopathic Association. And if you have osteopathic residents, if not, this is who used to accredit all osteopathic focused programs. And now they have merged osteopathic recognition with the ACGME. So there really isn't, accreditation through the AOA anymore, but there's still the certifying body for all osteopathic residents and faculty. So that's just what I just said. And I think we are done. So there is a quiz for AFMA members. You scan this with your phone and it will bring you to a form that has some questions on it. You can complete the questions and submit the form, and this will get you a certification or a little certificate for this webinar, so that you can have that for CME to show your programs. If you are not an AFMA member and you are on this webinar and you would like to take the quiz, you would need to just contact us regarding membership. And then you would be able to get these certificates also.
So I'm sorry, I was gonna say this when you were presenting, but I didn't want to be rude. Can you go back 2 pages on your slide?
No.
Thank you. Love
I
that.
didn't. Hang on. Where am I going, Miss Summer?
Tag me. Okay, go back to your tag. Go back 1 page. Okay, so tag me. Remember, I was talking about CME. As coordinators, we have to have CME. So if you are trying to either renew your Tag Me certification after the 5 years, or you're trying to be Tag Me certified, this right here would be proof of your CME, because this is your continuing medical education. And any conference that you go to. So as a coordinator, if you don't receive a certificate, or if you don't remember to jot down all webinars, any kind of online trainings, any kind of physical trainings that you go to, remember to jot that stuff down or keep your certificates for it, because if they ask for proof, that right there and said, hey, this is my CME. That was it.
Awesome.
Becky, there's a chat that asks if these slides are going to be available after today's webinar.
Yes, they will. I'm recording this right now, so this will go on our YouTube channel. It will also go in the resources page on the AFMA website, so you should be able to get to it there also.
And I will, before you submit that, Becky, can we add the link to get the actual documents that we use to get this? Because I know there are a couple more acronyms that we did not go through. So I will provide that link onto this slideshow for those who want to go further in depth to see what the rest of the acronyms would be, in case you had to use them at one point.
Yep. So we'll add that before we submit.
But just always know, Mr. Google is, as a coordinator, they will tell you if you're Tag Me certified. If you're not Tag Me certified, it's not what you know, it's do you know where to find it. So my best friend, me and him are really, really cool, have been for years, which is Mr. Google. He helps me find a lot of stuff. So if you ever have any problems, you can't get a hold of somebody, you can always contact me. I'm pretty sure you can contact Pamela or Becky, Lisa Ann over there. I'm throwing you guys out there, I know, but we are more than welcome to help you guys if you can't get a hold of Mr. Google.
Does anyone have any questions? Do you want me to put the scan code back up for a minute? Did anybody miss it?
Yes, please.
Let me see if I can go backwards. Oh, look at that.
I'm going to do this because I want a certificate. Can I have a certificate?
Yes. Can you get a certificate? Yes. Anyone have any questions? Anybody have an acronym that they get messed up with that they want to talk about, talk through? Anybody want to make a new acronym?
CRAZY. All coordinators are CRAZY at the end of this.
All right. Well, we must talk fast, Miss Some.
I know. And I'm looking at the list to see if there's anything that we missed. I know I just saw EPAs. If anybody needs it, we have to do EPAs. Does anyone have to do EPAs? No? Okay. Didactics, duty hours, those aren't necessarily acronyms, but those are things that you will hear within your profession. Your didactics, which would be in some languages, noon conferences, which is where your residents are learning. We have them every day at about noon. Oh, okay. AAs, affiliation agreements. I like that. The difference between an AA and a PLA. An affiliation agreement is from my understanding, I could be wrong. Help me with this one, Pamela, Lisa Ann, and Becky. But your affiliation agreement is the agreement between the institution, well, the hospital for which your residents are training. Is that correct? And you have to have that. Do they last 10 years like a PLA, or is it 5 years?
An affiliation agreement? An affiliation agreement, I believe, is 10 years, and it's with your institution and the hospitals that the residents are rotating through. So,
and something that someone might not know, you have to have an affiliation agreement and a PLA with your hospital. I found that out from my site visit.
correct. Correct.
And PLA is like for the actual person that your resident is working with.
The
Correct.
supervising physician, yes.
BSQ, basic skills. I don't know. Lisa Ann, help me out now. Okay,
Lisa
hold
Ann.
on. She's eating or drinking.
Oh.
Okay.
Do you want me to say, Lisa Ann? Do you want me to? Okay, so BSQ is a basic skills qualification. And so some residency programs like Lisa Ann have BSQs for their residents, and they are it's exactly what it says. It's a basic skills qualification document, and the resident and their preceptor actually go through this procedure, whatever it is. So if they're doing a circumcision, they have to meet certain criteria in order to be signed off on that procedure itself. And so that BSQ is signed off, and then they can be credentialed, so to say, within their program to do those procedures without direct supervision. She's nodding her head. That is correct. You taught me well, Lisa Ann. Lisa Ann is the guru of BSQs. If any of you are interested in BSQs, she's got a bazillion of them, I believe, in her new innovations. And so if you're interested in BSQs, reach out to her, because it's quite impressive, I will say.
I have a question that says, how do you describe the medical clerkship at your institution? More information. What exactly are you looking for?
That was me that asked, because we
Okay.
recently took over. And by the way, me meaning I'm Margie from South Florida, Community Health of South Florida.
Hello.
Hi. So we just kind of took over the medical student portion of the institution. For years, what we call the THC, Teaching Health Center, has only done the residents, right? But there have been other learners here way before the residency started. So I was just curious about how you all call that, because even our manager oversees both of them. So his title is kind of changed as well. And I was just curious to see what you call that in your institution. Or even a manager. How would you describe the manager of graduate medical education? And because I think that what we feel is that when we just say graduate medical education, we're kind of like not including the medical students. And you know what I'm saying?
You and me, undergraduate medical education. So that's a whole different ballgame, because they're undergraduate, they hadn't made it to the graduate portion. We do have a clerkship coordinator, which is myself, which in our clerkships that come and do rotations within us I have to coordinate that, and I'm with them to make sure that there are 4 weeks that they get everything out of that. But the actual clerkship is actually housed at the big institution in Little Rock. So that's like an
Oh,
institution thing. So that's going to vary between place to place.
right, right. Okay. And now good to know that you're it, because tag, you're it.
Yeah, I'm trying to get out of it, but that's it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So in my institution, I have we're a single program family medicine in a community hospital. There are 4 hospitals in our region. 2 of them have residency programs, and each one only has 1 program. So I'm graduate medical education for my institution. So I'm an institutional coordinator as well as the program coordinator. We have agreements with 4 medical schools in our area that send us medical students for core rotations in their 3rd and 4th year. So I have title of residency manager, and I have a residency coordinator that works under me, and she handles all of the medical student rotations. The agreements with the medical schools, gathering all of the medical student information, getting all of their documentation that we need for their rotation. And then she incorporates the medical students with the schedules that I put out for the medical residents, so that we
Okay.
can match them together so they can work with our residents and our faculty. So,
Right.
so I don't manage the medical students. I'm responsible for them, but I don't manage them. And
Right.
then once their 4th years and come in to do sub-Is, that's when I get involved in kind of their rotation and what they're doing during their rotation, because I'm the one that then brings them in to interview and talk to them about possibly staying, things like that. So, yeah, so we split up the work here. My assistant does medical students. I do all the resident stuff.
Okay. Do you know of any, just like we have this AFMA, do you know of any 4 medical clerkship coordinators?
So I would chime in here with Becky. She's giving that confused look face there. So I think every institution is a little different, and every program
Yeah.
is a little different. And so for me, I'm kind of like Summer. I do everything at my program. I am the residency administrator. I do all my resident stuff, but I also do all the medical student stuff. And so like Becky at my program, we have agreements with 2 medical schools, and their 3rd year students come and do one of the particular schools. Their 3rd years come and do their family medicine core rotation with us. And then we have another agreement with another medical school where their 3rd years, I typically get 4 a year, and they actually come to the city that my program is in, and they do all of their core rotations in Cheyenne, Wyoming. And so they do their family medicine and their OB or gynecology rotation with our residency program. And then they do their peds, internal medicine, surgery, psychiatry, and those other core rotations that are required as a 3rd year medical student. They do those with other, the VA hospital, the local hospital in my community. And then we have on our website a clerkship or sub-I rotation tab that all of the students can go out and check out our program. And we actually have an application that they have to fill out and submit to us, and it has to be signed off by their dean's office saying that they're a student in good standing, and we require like a copy of their an unofficial copy of their medical school transcript. We want to know what their USMLE or COMLEX scores are, that the tests that they've already taken. And so we require all of that before we even think about allowing them to do a rotation with us. And then it goes through the screening process where the faculty physician that's in charge of medical students reviews all those things. And then if we decide we're going to take this student on as a rotation for them, if we do not have an affiliation agreement with their medical school, then of course we have to go through that whole contract process to have that in place before we can allow the student to do a rotation with us. But I do all their scheduling as well. So I schedule them with the residents on their inpatient service. I schedule them with the residents when they're in the clinic. Again, I think it's based off of institution and what the
I figured. Yeah, I figured. Okay. All right. Thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
Here's another one that came from Ashley, but I think this may have gotten answered in the chat. Has everyone moved over from calling them to calling them work hours instead of duty hours? Or is that an institution? I still call them duty hours. It is what it is, same thing, but does anybody else call them work hours? Or does it matter to you guys? No?
We call them work hours, but New Innovation still calls it duty hours.
Yeah.
That's-
Yes, a lot of PLAs in the okay, that's got answered.
What is a
Summer-
PRE?
That's what I was gonna say. But it's one before that one. Hold on.
Oh, okay.
What is the PRE? Do I need to Google it?
I've never heard of that acronym before, so.
It's
Amy,
not-
are you still on?
Yeah, I was looking at the exam and I was like, shoot, what is a PRE? And then you were talking about the AA, and I mean, I figured it was a PLA, but I'm like, what is a PRE? I didn't see that definition. So it's just a trick.
Oh, gotcha.
Is that what
Oh,
it is? Okay, so
It
there
was
is
on
no
the quiz.
PREs.
Yes, it was a
Yes,
trick.
okay. Okay. I was
Don't
like,
give out
what's a
the
P-
answer.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't. Yeah. I
I'm
was
just,
like, is there a PRE? I didn't see that definition. So, okay, that answers my question.
someone asked, they said Summer mentioned needing both a PLA and an AA, which is an affiliation agreement. Can you explain that? So the PLA again is just saying, hey, I'm willing to work with your resident, your institution, your DIO and your GMAC. They're all going to approve that. So everyone's going to say something different. But your affiliation agreement is the agreement that you're going to have with the hospital. So you're going to have one affiliation agreement, and then you're going to have like 178 million PLAs. But I think both of them are 10 years. They all both last 10 years.
And the DIO needs to sign those.
Yes, DIO has to sign both. Your
That
program
has
director
not always
DIO.
been the case, but it is now.
Right.
All right. Another question is, what is a clerkship? Is it a med student rotation that occurs before an AI? What is an AI?
Acting internship.
Oh, gotcha. That's the 4th year rotation. So clerkship is a 3rd year medical student rotation that covers the core learning block curriculum from the medical school in which they come from. So a lot of times they have to do a 4, 6, 8, or 12-week family medicine rotation within their 3rd year of medical school. Depending on the school and what their curriculum is, it could be a different amount of time. But that is a core rotation they have to complete in order to graduate or move on to the next year. And if they fail your rotation, they will have to do it over. And then the 4th year rotations, there are some core rotations that they have to do in 4th year, but then there are also a lot of electives in their 4th year, so they can kind of make sure that they know what specialty they are interested in going into once they start the recruitment process. So yes, a clerkship is a 3rd year medical student rotation.
Here you go, Becky. Here's another one. How is an observership different than a clerkship?
So
Oh, there you go, Lisa Ann. Never mind.
a clerkship is it's a regulated part of the medical school curriculum in the 3rd year. And it is something that you have an agreement for between that school and your institution. So for us, observerships are non-clinical. For us, observerships are non-standard. They're basically for somebody who's already out of medical school that has graduated and needs to get some kind of experience or is trying to do an audition so that you can meet them and they can get kind of a leg up to be able to get on your list of possible people that would be able to interview for your program. It is Non-clinical, again, I say this is an observership, means that they have to sign in my institution a HIPAA form that they cannot share any information that they see in our institution. But it is not affiliated with any school. It is not a clinical rotation that they can use for US clinical experience. It is absolutely just like, hey, I like you and I want you to like me, so can I come hang out with you for a month or 6 weeks? We do not do observerships any longer at my institution. Just FYI.
And Lisa,
We do
and
not either.
that observerships are no patient contact. And Lisa Ann also said for programs, we don't consider observerships for experience in the US. So if your program says, you've been out of school for however long, you have to have, we say 5 years US clinical experience. Lisa Ann's program says observerships do not count. Darn it. We do audition rotations for 4th year medical students who are interested in our program. That's a lot of people do those. We don't. If they have their rotation here, then we'll count that.
We do audition rotations in the 4th year. We do them from July through the end of our recruitment season. And we
Okay.
offer interviews to anybody that does an audition rotation, as long as they were good at their rotation. All inpatient, no, not really any outpatient. It's all an inpatient rotation. And they have to apply for it.
Cindy said we do not offer observerships and we do not consider them as clinical time for ARIS applications.
Good job, Cindy. I agree with that.
And then Charlie said, as far as the audition rotation, that they have a combo internal medicine, ICU, family medicine, urgent care. So that's
Right.
what their audition rotation is. Any more questions? That the answers are not on the quiz.
Good job, lady.
I know the answer to number 1 is Summer, because that says your name. That's my name. Thank you, Miss Cindy. She said this was great. But we will put the link where we got the information. We will put that on the slide that's going to be on the website, and this presentation will be uploaded to our YouTube before the end of the week.
Great job.
Thank you.
Awesome, thank you.
We do appreciate all the, thank you.